Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Jedi's point of view, and as per usual, I'm here again, talking about some more Book of the Sith. We're going to get right into it today. I don't even care. I'm just ripping through this book. It's so good right now. The Darth Plagueis entries are amazing. Thanks for the support in the last video, guys. Lots of comments. I love it. Don't forget to ask questions down below. I'll give you answers. Somebody in the last video, a recent subscriber, Mick Gaming, he actually commented and asked how Darth Sidious would have survived the explosion if midichlorians die with the host. So that was pretty good, actually. I like that. But the answer is essence transfer. I believe that's how it happened. In Star Wars The Old Republic, there is Emperor Valorian. He is the Sith Emperor. He knows how to essence transfer. He basically is the most powerful being ever to live in Star Wars. And when he died at the end of the Jedi Knight campaign, he essence transferred all the way across the galaxy to another person who he was already setting up. He was transferring back and forth as him and had an eternal empire already made out in unknown space. So he's just OP as hell, and I believe that's how Darth Sidious did it. He just didn't perfect the technique. That's why his clone was dying so fast, because the dark side essence kills light side cells as it's alive in the host, right? You can't live forever with the dark side, and it kills you faster than the light side does. So in the last video, I talked about how Darth Plagueis was just doing all the industry that he needed to with the way midichlorians work in the body and trying to concentrate his Force life into it and all that fun stuff. So now it's new explorations in the Force. That's what the page looks like there. So we have a whole bunch of new things to talk about today. So, new explorations in the Force. My work with midichlorians is rooted in what is traditionally considered the living force, or those energies attached to the anima and the pneuma, the unifying force, or the Apeiron. It is not specifically necessary for the creation and manipulation of life, but midichlorians channel it nonetheless. As I look at the Force in a new light, I have found new applications for these omnipresent states. The Apeiron governs the cohesion of matter, from the atoms of a pebble to all planets and gravity in the universe. This includes the dimension of time. Through the Apeiron, space-time may be manipulated on a grand scale, that is, if a user channels sufficient energy through his aggregate midichlorians while maintaining focus and accuracy. Interesting. I believed in an individual could step instantly from one place to another by folding space, regardless of the intervening distance. Similarly, one could be able to fold time not to temporarily displace a physical object, but to shift one's consciousness backward and forward along time's flow. Such a thing would permit the study of knowledge through history, even the secrets recorded in the long-lost library of Sithari. And then Luke goes, if these abilities are possible, they're outside of my skill set. I have heard the A18 monks may have the ability to fold space. It's pretty lit. Fold space. It's like some interstellar shit. The anima governs life, and it is through this state that Force healing is possible. But to sever the Force, that is something rare. To sever the Force is to trigger a mass die-off of a victim's midichlorians, not enough to kill, but enough to take a Jedi's power. It could be that the Jedi of old knew this feat, but if so, they did not understand its underpinnings. Severing the Force is the inverse of what I have done when inducing midichlorians to create life. It is far easier to achieve. The pneuma governs consciousness. Through this, I am convinced that the energy pattern we know as self-awareness can be preserved and imprinted a second time into the neural pathways of a different brain. This process would be simplest with a cloned body that is identical to the subject's own, though in theory, any advanced biological form would prove sufficient. Body swapping of this nature is riskier than simply sustaining one's own life through midichlorian manipulation. In dire emergency, however, it could serve as an escape against oblivion. So that right there is how Sidious survived the Death Star explosion on Episode 6. Body swapping. So he literally just tossed his essence into a clone's essence all the way across the galaxy on Exegol. And he talks about it right there. And then it's neat. Sidious actually leaves a little comment down here. And he says, I am pleased my master began this work, for it is far more than an escape. This dark side ravages the flesh. I believe that I might sustain my life only by transferring it into the body of a cloned host. So there you go. More proof that Sidious was always behind the scenes, trying to figure it out, trying to make sure that he's actually going to survive whenever he is eventually going to die. And then Plagueis does some research on transcending death. So the act of transferring consciousness between bodies touches on a subject that still troubles me. The patterns that define each mind can be stored in the pneuma field, but these patterns degrade almost instantly if they are not anchored in a new biological form. The speed of this degradation is so rapid that it seems to render the argument for life after death mute. But yet, I have always been one to follow the evidence. All beings are afraid of oblivion. Every culture has written fables to assure themselves that death is not the end. Even the Jedi do this. Through midichlorians, they believe they have a connection to the universe's fundamental energies that others do not. Therefore, I am reluctant to dismiss this history too rapidly. I like it. During the Great Sith War, Jedi combatants were said to have vanished at the moment of their death, with the cells of their bodies supplementing into energy. It must be noted that although I have witnessed the death of Jedi, I have never witnessed this phenomenon. Okay. Some of these Jedi were said to have returned as pure consciousness, communicating specific and verifiable information to the living. Ghost stories are so common that they are laughable, but the pneuma leads me to believe that such a thing is possible. I love this. So apparently in the Old Republic, in the Great War of the Sith and the Jedi, this had happened before, which I believe there is Force ghosts in the Old Republic, which is Legends continuity, but only few Jedi can, only true Jedi can, only Jedi that have communed with the Force and actually spoken to the wills of the Force, which George Lucas was going to cover in his sequels, but we won't get into that. Luke leaves a comment. He says, I've seen Yoda, Ben, and my father return from death. The Force is a welcoming place, far larger than Plagueis' attempts to measure and minimize it. And then we have Sidious's comment. He says, I have studied the art of the dark transfer and as a technique later perfected by the Jedi Aska Bauda, whom I tortured and killed. I have ordered the production of inert clones of my body. One day I will have an inexhaustible supply of fresh forms and the means to pass between them when the flesh proves weak. Boom, right there. Sidious survived because of that. Essence transfer right before he hit the bottom of that Death Star. Whoop, see you later. You know, unfortunately, then the sequels happen. That wasn't their plan the whole time anyways, so who cares? The Netherworld and chaos. So how mental patterns persist beyond our physical minds remains an enigma. Thought degrades into randomness in less than a minute, to hold awareness longer than that, and to appear to others in the physical world while retaining both visual and auditory aspects is a remarkable feat, if true. I have read that the lore keepers of the Wills have perfected this, but the Wills remain a frustrating puzzle for those who wish to learn more about them. One thing is clear. Although such a phenomenon technically meets the definition of life after death, it is not supernatural. The unimaginative always ascribe their own motivations to independent phenomenon, including those who believe the Force has a consciousness, and a will in fact. Through midichlorians share a collective mind, the Force itself could not possibly know or care about the welfare of intelligent life. My goal, therefore, is to separate genuine insight from hyperbole. I do not know how the Jedi of the past achieved the supposed miracle of retaining their awareness after death, but I know it was not through supplication and prayer. However, the fact that individual identities are absorbed into the pneuma at the moment of their deaths explains several associated legends. The Jedi, for example, speak of the Netherworld beyond death, a realm that is vague on detail but said to be a place of utmost peace. Similarly, chaos is where dead Sith Lords are believed to dwell in torment. At least according to legend, those who are too weak to punish their enemies during a lifetime will be forced to hold on to their grudges and to live in chaos, plotting but never being able to exact their revenge. Luke says something here at the top. He says, Ben spoke of the Netherworld, and I've seen his spirit join with those of Yoda and my father. I know in my heart they will all have found peace. It's true. Very true. This is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about some Sith spirits here. Some nice art, finally. That's some art that Plagueis himself drew, I think. The peace of the Netherworld. It is easily understood as a reaction of a mind that finds itself dissipating into the hum of the background energy and accepts its fate without pain or fear. Minds that are less inclined to accept their loss of identity will fight to keep their grasp on order. Oh, okay. That's lit. Perfect, dude. Sith spirits. We're on to Sith spirits now. The most accessible lore concerning life after death is found in the holocrons of the Sith indeed. The Sith holocrons are said to contain the spirit of their builders, and these spirits interact with users as holographic gatekeepers. But all of this is sleight of hand, a programmable artificial intelligence that wears the face of a long-dead lord. More interesting are the tales of Sith ghosts said to haunt everything from the tombs of Korriban to the relics inside Coruscant's great galactic museum. Is it possible that these masters of the dark side succeeded in preserving their awareness? If so, will they still be queried for their secrets? Unfortunately, I have been to Korriban, and I am not convinced that these tales hold truth. And then Sidious says, the spirits of Korriban are quite real indeed. On one occasion, they nearly killed me, but I agreed with my master in this observation. The dead Dark Lords are evasive in their speech and ultimately treacherous. So obviously just there to send you on the wrong turn, you know? The tomb of Hakagram Gurush remained silent to my queries, and the throne where Sorceress Sin once sat contained no mocking, imperious specter. I was ready to conclude that the tales are merely diversions for those credulous, but as I boarded my ship in the Valley of the Dark Lords, I beheld a vision of the Sith Lord Marka Ragnos. The apparition challenged my claim to the Sith title and railed against my plan to dismantle the traditions of Korriban, but the vision of Ragnos would not answer my question nor my delineated inquiries. He snarled and disappeared in a whirl of smoke. It is possible that the entire episode simply played out in my mind, and then that's what the illusion of Marka Ragnos looked like to Plagueis. Then you have, there's one spirit encounter that would truly intrigue me. However, I would enjoy questioning my master, Darth Tenebrous, to see if he anticipated my growing power, and whether he knew I might destroy him on Baldeminic. I wonder what Tenebrous would think of his apprentice of Chief since that day. The Prophecy of the Chosen One. There we go, look at that. There's the Mortis pillar on the island. And the nice obelisk of Mortis. You see that in the Clone Wars. So the Prophecy of the Chosen One. The beliefs of the Jedi are expressed in ritual and storytelling. Plain language somehow eludes those who have grown up tightly wrapped in tradition. The Jedi await the coming of a savior, a prophesied chosen one who will destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. The Jedi tell tales of Mortis, a place of impossible geography inside the angles of gargantuan monoliths. The three all-powerful beings of Mortis can assume strange shapes and exemplify the dark side, the light side, and the principle of balance. So the Father, the Daughter, and the Son. And then we have the picture there, which I already showed you. So, compelling. It is debatable, but at the very least, it is an adequate way to illustrate an allegorical point. I don't even know, bro. I'm dumb. Day coexists with night, for example, and construction is always followed by ruin. Yet many of the Jedi treat the legend of Mortis as literal truth. They believe that the Chosen One will prevent these gods and demons from tearing the universe asunder, that their champion will be a vessel of pure Force energy. So we come back to the midichlorians. These organisms allow beings to live and provide a connection to the Force. If bred in sufficient quantities, midichlorians can even conceive a new life form and bestow upon its powers greater than any Jedi has ever dreamed, generating a vergence in the Force. So Anakin. If I induce midichlorians to create such a being, my handiwork would fit all the descriptions of their chosen one. But he would be an agent of my own will. How fitting that the misguided reliance of superstition would lead to a Sith creation that is hailed by the Jedi as a savior. And then Sidious goes, this prophecy will never come to pass under my reign. The Sith will hold their authority forever. And then Luke says something here. He goes, Plagueis made the mistake of believing that if something isn't literally true, then it has no value. I don't know the Jedi legends well, but the balance of the Force is a subject to be studied, not dismissed. And then last page of Sidious, why am I blanking? Plagueis' entries here, and then we're on to Sidious' entries, which is a couple pages. I'll save that for the next video, but let's just finish this one here, guys. And before we finish it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And let's get it going. The culmination of the Sithari. The Sith have their religion too. Since the time of Korriban's savage primitives, our order has become encumbered by rituals in the way that a starship accumulates Minox. This ends with me. I will replace those beliefs with truth, rationality, and the rule of the gifted. Yet the prophecy of the Sithari still holds some interest. Prophecies are generally wishful thinking, but because midichlorians have the ability to tap the Aperion, any time on space can be interpreted as future sight. The fact that the Sith created their own savior myth is predictable, but the prophecy states that a being will arise who is free from restrictions and who will destroy the Sith only to make them stronger than before. These statements seem uniquely specific to the actions I am taking now. I am free from blind obedience to symbols and mysticism. I will end the traditions that have bound the Sith throughout their history. I have unlocked the secrets of life, and by doing so I will enable long-term plans to ensure Sith dominance for centuries. I am not a creature of superstition, but if the robes of the Sithari fit, I see no reason not to claim them. And then Sidious leaves a comment and says, Plagueis failed to achieve his goals because he did not remain strong. Such blandness for one who claimed such deep insight. So that was, I think, my favorite entry into the Book of the Sith, as it is probably one of the most interesting when you're talking about the midichlorians and the science of the midichlorians. And I fucking love this book. I cannot wait to read the last chapter here. Absolute Power by Darth Sidious. But I love you guys. Thanks for all the support on the channel as of late. I'm at 40 subscribers now, which is unreal. Started this channel 3 months ago, not even caring about views or subscribers or anything. But I've just been doing my best to make sure my content gets out there to people who like Star Wars. And I hope you guys are doing the same. Share it up. Make sure to share that link on your Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want, bro, to be honest. But enough shameless plugging here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And as always, may the Force be with you.